Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist and I own 52 units of real estate. So I had a great question in the comments asking, so I make $10,000 a month in cash flow on my 52 unit portfolio, and that seems kind of low. I have $5 million of real estate equity. And if you kind of do the math, so $10,000 a month times 12 months, that's $120K a year. And you divide that by 5 million, that's roughly 2.5% return on my money, which is really low, right? It's like, so people are asking, why is your return so low? What are your thoughts on that? And then what interest rates did you lock in? So to answer the first question, my interest rates, most of my interest rates are pretty good. Like I have it at, most of them are like around 3%. My 26 units at 4%. My primary residence is, well, it's not really part of my investment, but like it's 6.5%, and my 20 unit is 6.5%, right? So from there, my interest rates are great. So, interest rate isn't an issue. My next one is like, why is my cash flow so low? And honestly, it's because I haven't rebalanced my portfolio. Like I've bought a bunch of single family homes in California from 2017. Bought my first one in Livermore in 2017, my second one in San Francisco in 2019, and my third one in, I think, Southern California in 2020. And all these properties, when interest rates dropped, values skyrocketed. So when interest rates were really low, like you're talking about during COVID, when interest rates were, 2.7%, I was like doing refinances, cash out refinances at like 3.1% on jumbo loans, and they were rental properties. So I really took advantage of the low interest rates to pull out the money to then go buy real estate. But what happens when you pull out a lot of equity from these single family homes, now the single family homes are cash flow negative, and I use that to go buy apartments in Oklahoma, which are more cash flow positive, right? And like for example, on average, my first property I bought in Livermore, I bought for $800,000. It's worth about $1.3 million now, conservatively. So, what is that? That's $500,000, and I own that for about 7 years now. So on average, my property was appreciating $80,000 a year. And if you times that by like 3 properties each, in a year, I was making about almost, $250,000 in equity a year, like doing nothing, right? And so when I built up all this equity, and then the rents haven't really gone up or much for those properties, right? Like I think I have the same tenants, and I'm only renting my Livermore property for about $3,900 a month, and that's maybe a little bit below market, but not too far off. My San Francisco property, I haven't really raised rents on that one since 2019, but the rents have kind of stayed the same or went down in San Francisco because of the recession. And then my property in Southern California, I'm renting it for $3,700 a month, which isn't that far below rents either. So that's kind of the downside of investing in California, right? Where like the rents don't really go up that much, but then the values went up significantly. So if my values went up significantly, my equity went up significantly, the only way to really maximize the return is I have to like sell these properties, do a 1031 exchange, and then dump it into an apartment complex that I can buy. And I probably will do that in the future, but it just doesn't make sense for me like right now, right? I want to wait for interest rates to drop. When interest rates drops, the values will go up in the single family homes, and then I will then 1031 exchange these to buy apartments if I want to. So like I just have a lot of equity that I'm not using, and then the rents are like relatively speaking low, right? So like people can argue that, well, you can sell it and then just dump it in an index fund, and you'll make like 7% return on your money, or you can dump it into like a tax-free vehicle, like California municipal bonds, which are tax-free, or something, right? Like, because you can get like 5% return on your money, which is better than mine right now. So that's one reason why my return is like 2.5% return on equity. So if I want to really maximize it, I probably have to sell it, dump it in some index funds, or sell it and 1031 to more real estate, right? Which I have these options. And then for my apartments, so the apartments, they cash flow, right? So, but the thing of apartments is the more you cash flow, it increases your net operating income. And assuming that your cap rates don't change, then you forced a lot of appreciation on these apartments. And that's what I did, right? So like for my 26 unit, for example, I bought it for $500,000. I put in $300,000 to renovate it. So I'm all in for $800,000. And essentially I was able to raise the rents from about $350 up to about $700 on average, which is effectively doubling the rents after spending about $5,000 to $8,000 in renovation, and after stabilizing tenants and then organically raising rents over time, right? So I think when I took over the property, it was all bills paid, and he was charging $500 a month. But if you factor in the utilities, which is about $150 per door per unit, effectively I was only taking home like $350 per unit, right? But now that after I renovate the units and the tenants churned, I have new tenants, I'm renting for about $700 to $800, and they cover their own utilities. So effectively I doubled the rents, and my NOI increased. For simplicity, let's just say the NOI doubled, and then assuming the cap rate stayed the same, my value then doubles, right? So I was all in for $800, and now it's worth about $1.5 to $1.6 million. So, once again, I've forced a lot of appreciation on that property, and that's hurting against my return. So if I want to leverage, I have to do a cash out refinance, pull out this money tax-free, and then I can dump it into like index funds, or I can dump it into buying more apartments. Right, so that's why. So I'm kind of in this weird limbo state where I just have a lot of like equity, but then like you said, my single family homes, the rents don't really go up that much. Maybe $200 every 2 years. Just to not be way below market. And then my apartments, just organically over time. When you renew leases, it just goes up like maybe $15-$20 a month. Or depending on the market. So I have a lot of equity. Like I said, I'm worth like $5 million, but a lot of it's trapped, and it's not liquid. And then my cash on cash return seems low because my real estate, my single family home portfolio is cash flow negative, and then my multifamily makes up for it by making it more money, right? So if I literally sold maybe my cash flow negative single family homes, I could then pay off my primary residence and wipe out my mortgage, or I could dump it in an index fund, which averages 7 to 10% return on your money, or you can 1031 exchange that into an apartment, or I could do all the above, right? Like I have 3 single family homes. I could sell one to pay off this house that I'm living in, wipe out that expense. I could sell one to 1031 into another apartment complex, and I can sell one and just dump it in index funds, right? So like it just gives me optionality, and that's the benefit of California real estate is you get no cash flow or negative cash flow, but the appreciation is insane, right? It's very like $80,000 a month on average, $8,000 a year in appreciation on average, and that's really insane appreciation. So to me, they're big fat piggy banks that eventually I'm going to crack open and then juice up my cash on cash returns. So, but right now, don't really want to make any major moves until interest rates are lower. Then once they lower, then I might consider selling and 1031ing and expanding my real estate portfolio. So right now, don't really want to touch those unless the right deal comes along. I'm trying to buy deals right now using creative finance so that I don't have to get a bank loan, and then I don't want to like put a large down payment right now because I just don't want to sell a property. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process. Curious to hear your thought process on what I should do. Got a lot of great advice from people where they're just like, hey, you could 1031 it into a Delaware statutory trust, and then basically invest that with syndicators. You could do it into bonds. There's so many different strategies that you can do, and like I said, I'm privileged to have these options. But anyways, let me know if you have any questions. Love to answer your questions in the comments. If you want to learn how to buy multifamily real estate with some guidance, check out the mentorship program. If you want to join a school community that's focused on multifamily real estate to surround yourself with like-minded individuals, check out my school community. I just opened that up. Link down below as well. Otherwise, please like, comment, subscribe, and hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.